So we've questioned you about the red zone for weeks and weeks and weeks. The last 3 or 4 weeks you've been really good down there. What's gone better?
Probably, I would say it's a combination of play calls and execution. That's usually what it is. Our guys have done a really nice job of going out there and converting in some of those goal to go situations, and hopefully we can continue that.
Mike Spofford.
Hey, Matt, how'd you feel about how you ran the ball against that Ravens defense yesterday, and what impact did you feel the running game had on things overall for you?
Yeah, I thought our guys did, for the most part. We were getting positive gains. There was a couple, where we were getting 8-9 yards. I don't think we had any explosives in the run game, which we always would like. But for the most part, I thought it was a productive day on the ground. I can't tell you exactly what our run efficiency was, but I thought it was pretty productive.
Matt Reynoldson.
Matt, correct me if I'm overgeneralizing a little bit here, but it seems like in such a week-to-week league, you guys have avoided that letdown performance. Do you think some of that stems back to week 1 against the Saints, or if not, what do you think that comes from with your group?
I just think it speaks to our players and the maturity level that they exhibit on a daily basis, and just knowing how important not only every game is, but every play is. We try to constantly show them examples from around the league about how you just never know on each individual play, and you gotta play that play to the echo of the whistle. And I think our guys kind of take that to heart, and hopefully we can continue that. Especially, you're talking December football. We're getting closer to January, and this is where it's so important that teams are continuing to improve and you're playing your best ball.
Cassidy Hill.
Hey, Matt, what goes into making an efficient cold weather back, and why does A.J. Dillon, or how does A.J. Dillon sort of fit that bill?
Well, I think naturally the first thing you think of is just, guys that will run behind their pads and lower their pad level. And certainly anytime you add a bigger back to that equation, it makes it more challenging to tackle. But I think both our guys, even though Aaron's not quite the creature that AJ is, I think he's a pretty damn efficient cold weather back as well.
Ryan Wood.
Hey, Matt, what happened on the delay of game before the punt yesterday? And when you see those sort of things happen, I know we've asked you a lot about special teams, but with so little time left, is it hard to maintain faith or hope that this can get better when it's the little stuff like that that's going wrong?
Yeah, bottom line is we got to snap the ball. It was called for on multiple times in that instance. We got to snap the ball.
Mark Daniels.
Hey, Matt, you got me okay?
I got you.
Matt, you mentioned him yesterday. I don't know how many snaps he got, but Tyler Davis with that catch, is that just the kind of the epitome of, when your number's called, stepping up, and that is what you're going to need from maybe a few more guys as you continue on?
Yeah, I would say so. Tyler's a guy that has done a nice job, and the more opportunity and the more he can come through for us, the better our chances are. But also, he's going to earn more time, and I think Justin Outen does an unbelievable job with that room, getting those guys prepared. I think when you have the leadership of a guy like Mercedes Lewis in that room, that certainly helps. But yeah, super proud of Tyler in that situation. I thought Aaron did an outstanding job. They brought a double corner blitz in that instance on that play, and he sped it up. He sped up the timing at the top of the route and let it rip, or at the top of his drop and let it rip, and Tyler made a great catch.
Steve McGargy.
Just wondering, with the new playoff format, with only the one team from each conference getting a bye, I was wondering first what your opinion was of that setup that they have now, and also does it add at all to the sense of urgency going into the stretch run of the regular season when there's only the one bye rather than the two?
Yeah, as far as I don't have a whole lot of thought in terms of just it is what it is. I mean, that's what the league decided. So certainly I think there are a lot of advantages to getting the number one seed in terms of, getting that week off and then having every playoff game come through your home stadium. And we all know the advantages of Lambeau and the climate that we play in. So I think it's important for us to continue to take it one day at a time, one game at a time, not look too far ahead. We know we have another great AFC North opponent coming in here, a team that's battling for their playoff lives right now, and it's going to be a great challenge for us.
Jason Wilde.
Hey, Matt, I'm not going to lie. I miss being in the same room for these, and I'm sure you feel the same.
I miss you too, Jason.
Thanks. I appreciate that. That's what I was fishing for. Hey, look, the best part of your job has to be winning and experiencing that with your guys. But is one of the other cool parts of your job when an opponent does something and now it's on you to kind of figure out the solution as a competitor? And I'm asking that in terms of, I don't know if everybody's going to try to do it to Devontae what Wink Martindale did yesterday, but if they do, what's the challenge for you to make sure that doesn't work against them in the future?
Yeah, I think as a coach, you always love the chess match and trying to figure and try to stay one step ahead of the opponent. And certainly they had a plan to not allow 17 to get the ball, and for the most part, they did a pretty decent job. However, I think it just speaks to Tay's talent and the respect they have for him. But he was still able to separate even when he was getting doubled. I mean, shoot the touchdown on the goal line. That was just a great job by him working that corner and being able to capture the leverage. There was a third down where he was able to get the leverage out on an outbreaker. So, we'll still continue to try to find ways to get Tay the ball. Obviously, he's such a dynamic playmaker. You almost can't get him the ball enough. But yeah, that is going to be a challenge moving forward. I'm sure some other teams is a copycat league, and if other teams feel like that's the best way to stop us, then I'm sure that's what they'll implement. However, I do think it was great to see other guys get involved in the passing game. Marquez had a great day. I thought it was his best game this season. Just showing the strong hands, showing the aggressive hands. His route running was on point. I thought Aaron did a great job of giving him accurate throws. I thought our offensive line, for the most part on the day, protected pretty well. Certainly Sadie's got involved with the pass game a little bit. We got a few to our backs, which is important. Allen had a couple early that definitely helped out. We mentioned the throw to Tyler Davis earlier. So it's important for us still to try to spread the ball around so they can't just totally zero in on 17. But at the same time, we got to make sure that we're presenting enough different looks for the defense, moving Tay around, whether it's in the slot, outside, motion him, whatever it may be, to try to get him open.
Tom Silverstein.
Hey, Matt, what do you think of the new protocols that the NFL has had? I mean, I guess there's two ways you could look at it. One, you probably don't risk losing 21 guys in a given week because they're not necessarily being tested. On the other hand, do you think it also could allow people to let their guards down a little bit and be a little bit less protective because they're not getting tested regularly?
I think everything's you're always at risk right now. I think this thing is kind of running rampant throughout the country. Certainly it is throughout the NFL. We've seen a lot of guys being added to the COVID list. However, I do think our team has really handled themselves well throughout the last 2 years. We haven't had too many cases. I feel like it's just going to come down to the discipline that we exhibit on a daily basis, trying to not put yourself in position to potentially put yourself at a higher risk. I think we're all at risk for it, and how people get it, I mean, I'm not smart enough to figure that out, but we're just going to keep on stressing the importance of everybody being available for these last 3 weeks of the season, how important that is. Because we know every game is so important, and we'll continue to stress that to our guys.
Bill Huber.
Mark asked you about Tyler Davis and Jason asked about Adams, kind of combining those things. You had 7 catches, I think, from your tight ends the last 2 weeks. How big have they been, especially in light of, you lose Bobby and you kind of think that the tight end production is going to drop off, but those guys have really picked up the slack the last 2 games.
Yeah, no, those guys have done a great job. I think our guys, Nathaniel Hackett and the rest of our offensive staff have done a really nice job of trying to incorporate those guys more into the passing game, whether it's with some of our play actions or keepers that we've been doing. Certainly Aaron's done a great job of going out there and executing. And then, it comes down to our O-line and backs, just providing the time for him to be able to progress through his reads.
Aaron Nagler.
Coach, a couple of times it seemed like at one point, I'm pretty sure you guys were playing with 10 on defense. And then there was another play where we saw Kevin run off and then run back on literally as the ball is being snapped. Was Baltimore doing something with tempo or personnel that was giving you guys problems with your substitution patterns?
Well, the one time we felt like they had subbed and the officials didn't stand over the ball. But that was the time that Kevin came running off and then back on. But as far as the other one down in the red zone, that's totally unacceptable. That's on us as coaches, just not being crystal clear with our communication, who was supposed to go in the game, and we can't have that. That's the kind of stuff that it makes you look silly. It's embarrassing as a coach. Aaron, back to your time management stuff that we talked about last week. Certainly, but I'll admit it. It was not the best again. I didn't want to burn that last time out in that situation, and unfortunately, it certainly cost us. And so, that's the stuff. Those are totally avoidable mistakes if you just clearly communicate, and that starts with me, and then it goes down to our assistant coaches. We've got to be better in that regard to not put our team in that position, because that's the stuff that, just like I said, it's embarrassing and it can ultimately cost you.
Brian Wood.
Hey, Matt, with the Saturday game, how are you structuring your practice schedule this week?
Yeah, Ryan. So tomorrow is going to be like our normal Wednesday. However, we are going to bring the players in a little bit later. So we'll start meetings at 10 o'clock. I told the guys, our coaches, to get the players the corrections from this past game today, and we're moving forward to Cleveland. So we're just bumping the schedule up a day. As far as the practice plan is concerned, tomorrow is going to be totally above the neck. It's going to be all walk through, jog through tempo, and really the same with Wednesday, which would be our typical Thursday practice. We will do some individual that day just to kind of get the guys moving a little bit. But for the most part, it's going to be a mental week. And then we'll get back to, on Thursday, we'll be dedicated more towards the red zone, where we'll move them and we'll have some live reps in practice. And then Friday's our typical walkthrough day, and then we're ready to play ball on Saturday.
Chris Roth.
Hey, Matt. Eric Stokes looked like he played very well yesterday. He tackled really well. The defense has had a few issues with points lately, but his progression has seemed to be escalating. Do you no longer even think of him as a rookie?
Yeah, I think really that's the mentality of everybody at this stage of the season. Nobody's really a rookie anymore, and I know that's probably a lot of coach speak, but that's just kind of how we look at it, how we view it. So I think Stokes has done an outstanding job. He's been super consistent, and you can see that with his preparation throughout the week. He's got the right mindset. I think he continues to get better. He's learning more each and every day. I love his resilient mindset that he has, how he just battles every play, whether he's making a play, whether he gets beat. He comes back and plays each play as its own entity, and that's the kind of mentality that you have to have, especially at that cornerback position.
We'll do 2 more. Jason Wilde.
Hey, Matt, Saturday obviously is also Christmas. Does that mean you're going to let the dads sleep overnight at home and get up on Christmas morning with their kids? And does that mean the quarterback gets to sleep in his favorite bed as well? Or what are you thinking there?
I'm going to keep that in-house, Jason. We'll let you know later.
Okay.
I haven't even talked to the team yet, so I can update you guys in regards to what we plan to do tomorrow.
I was just curious.
And last one, Tom Silverstein.
Hey, man, as you guys watch the tape on those last two drives on defense where Baltimore went down for the touchdowns, in retrospect, or what did you think about, would you have liked to played that more aggressively with your corners, or do you think that was the way to go, the way it did go?
Well, and in hindsight, Tom, we definitely should have challenged more. And that's the thing that I try to stress to our guys is just you got to understand first and second down versus third down. When we get into those situations, when it's third and medium or third and short, we can't be afraid to challenge these guys and make them earn it. I felt like there was just a few too many easy completions. And then the other thing is that there were situations where I really liked a few of the calls, and we weren't lined up ready to go. And so, I think anytime the defense has a chance to put their cleats in the ground, they're taking in the offensive information, really looking at the keys. They have a much better idea of what potentially could be coming at them, and then going out there and playing the play. So I think that's where there's room for improvement. Certainly we need all 11 on defense, locked in, ready to go on the snap of the ball. And if you look, that wasn't always the case in those last two drives.
Are they looking for calls to looking at each other for communication, or is it they just weren't ready?
I think it was all of the above. I think there were times where we needed to get the play call in a little bit quicker for them. And then I think there's times when the play call was in there and we're still messing around, whether it's with our stances or whatever it may be, and just not ready to go on the snap of the ball. And I don't think you can play that way. Not in this league. Teams are too good. Got to give Baltimore a lot of credit. They were able to be very effective on offense. And, there's a lot of areas to improve upon on defense, especially when you're playing a mobile quarterback like that. Certainly you can't let that guy get loose and move the sticks with his legs like he did many times. He was able to scramble for a lot of yards, and then just those easy completions. So I think our guys will be better for it. We'll learn from it. We'll get back to work tomorrow, and we'll try to get all that corrected.